Hey my amazing artists, welcome back to another awesome art activity. Today's activity, we're going to be creating our own shape mobile. Now, what a shape mobile is and who first created this as art, we're going to talk about in a moment, but first, let's say a learning target together. I can create a mobile using different shapes. So again, we're going to talk about what a mobile is in a little bit, but first we need to meet an artist that helped make this into art. Let's take a look at him and his artwork. Our artist today is Mr. Alexander Calder. Calder was an American sculptor. He was born in 1898 and died in 1976. He was best known for his mobiles and large public sculptures. He grew up in a family of artists. His father was a sculptor and his mother was a painter, so from a young age, he was encouraged to create. However, when he went to college, he decided to go to technology and ended up graduating with an engineering degree and worked in different various jobs, including work on cars and ships. Eventually, though, he did commit to art and decided to move to New York, where he dabbled a little bit with abstract painting, such as the paintings you see here. He then did decide, though, that he much preferred sculpture to painting. And in 1931, he began creating kinetic sculptures. That means that the sculptures would move. Other artists called these mobiles, which in French means motion. His mobiles consisted of only a few colors, sometimes even only one, and the use of different geometric or organic shapes. Geometric shapes are ones that you can name, like squares, circles, and triangles. Organic shapes are ones that are found in nature, such as a leaf shape or petal shape, shapes that maybe look like different things you might see outside. This same theme of a few colors and different geometric or organic shapes can be seen in many of his different art forms that he's created, such as these sculptures here, and these sculptures as well. Now that we know a little bit more about our artist and the mobiles that he likes to create, we're going to be creating our own hanging mobile today. We're going to need a few different art supplies in order to create our own mobile. So let's take a look at what we're going to need. All right, artists, here are the things that we're going to need to create our mobile today. First of all, we're going to need to find some sticks. These are sticks that I pulled out in my own yard. Now, I want you to find 2 to 4 sticks and try to make at least one large and the second, third, or fourth smaller. We're also going to need some string in order to make our mobile work. Now, if you don't have string, again, another great alternative is dental floss. Then, we're also going to need a pencil and some scissors. You might want glue, but you don't necessarily have to have glue. And we're going to need either some colored paper, or here's some cardboard that I'm using from a cereal box. And I went ahead and I painted 3 colors on it and let it dry. Now, if you don't have cardboard, if you don't have paints, that's okay. Just like Mr. Calder, he only used maybe 1 color. You could keep your cardboard brown and use it that way, or if you just want to use colored regular paper or white paper, that's fine as well. I know I just want a little bit of color in mine, which is why I decided to paint my cardboard different colors. So please go gather these art supplies together and meet me back here to find out what we need to do first. The first place that I like to start when making my shape mobile is with my shapes themselves. So I have my cardboard here. Again, I painted it with my primary colors. If you have colored paper or regular paper, whatever you want to use, that's fine. First thing I'm going to do is decide what shape or shapes I want to use. I could use the same shape for my whole mobile, or I could use many different shapes as well. So I think I'm going to do about 12 different shapes. Now, here's my problem. My backside of my cardboard isn't painted. And because a mobile will turn and spin, we're going to see all sides. So I'm going to do 2 sets of shapes and I'm going to glue them back to back to make it look the same color on each side. Again, you don't have to do this. This is just a step I want to do to make my mobile look the best that it can. So I'm going to go ahead, start drawing out a couple of shapes and cut them out. And then I'm going to sandwich my 2 pieces together and glue them to make sure that my shapes are the same color on both sides. Here I go. All right, I have all my different shapes prepared, and because I had to glue mine back to back, I set them aside and I'm letting them dry now. So now we can start building the actual mobile. I have my different sticks in front of me. Again, you want at least 2, no more than 4. So I think I'm actually going to get rid of just one of my sticks. And I have them layered with my biggest at the top, my medium size in the middle, and my smallest one at the bottom. I now need to connect my 3 pieces together. So I'm going to grab my string, and I'm going to make sure that I have it longer than how tall my 3 pieces are together. I'm going to actually double that string length. So there's one length, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold my string in half before I cut it. That way I know I have enough string to tie my 3 sticks together, and also add a little bit at the top where I might want to put my little loop to hang it. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make my loop first. I'm going to loop it around, then I'm going to take that loop and I'm going to loop that around my finger and tuck the tiniest little loop into that bigger loop. It will create a knot just like that. I'm going to show that again so you friends can see it a little bit better. So again, at the top I'm going to make a small loop. I'm going to take that loop now and loop it around my finger, and I'm going to tuck that tiny little loop that you see there inside of the bigger loop. If you're having a hard time with this step, make sure that you ask an adult for a little bit of help with that, okay? So I have my top loop. I'm going to start in the middle of my biggest stick now, and I'm going to go ahead and pick it up, and I'm going to wrap around and then tie a knot. Right in the middle. Then I'm going to leave a little bit of length before I go to my middle stick. And again, I can either put it in the middle, or I could also tie it off to one side if I'd like as well. Maybe I'll try putting it a little bit off to one side. I'm going to wrap it around, and then I'm going to tie a knot. I'll go over and tuck my string through that little open window that I have. And then I'm going to pull it tight. All right, I have one more stick I'm going to connect, so I'm going to pull my string down a little bit more, and then I'm going to wrap it around one more time before I tie my last little knot. Now at this point, don't cut the extra string that's at the bottom. You might want to use that for one of your shapes. So I have my sticks all connected. Now I can start thinking about adding my shapes next. Now that I have my sticks together, I need to start laying out my shapes where I might want them to go on my mobile. So maybe at the bottom, I'll put my big red circle, and then try my yellow oval and my blue triangle. And I'm just going to lay them out about where I might want to put them and attach them to either the string or the sticks. And I'll keep building up as I go, using different shapes. On my biggest branch, I can even put some on the outside edges, as well as some in the middle. But first, I want to keep playing around and moving everything around to decide where I might want my different shapes to go. Once I'm happy with where my shapes are, this next step, my friends, might get a little dangerous. We need to poke some holes through our paper or our cardboard. Now, because I chose cardboard, I can't just use a regular hole puncher. What I'm going to use instead is some of my sharpest pair of scissors. And I'm going to carefully, not with my hand behind it, poke it through my cardboard. I'm pushing and twisting throughout the table. Again, my fingers are not behind it because I don't want to accidentally poke my fingers. So I'll go through right now, and I'm going to carefully just poke little holes close to where I want my string to tie. Again, if this is something that you're worried about being safe with, my friends, you might want to ask an adult to help you and just use your pencil to mark where you would like your different holes to go. All right, I have all my holes in my shapes. I did it the safest I could, making sure that my hands were not behind the shapes when I was poking with my scissors. Again, if you're just using regular paper and you have a hole puncher at home, that's a much safer opportunity to use than your scissors. If you don't have anything, make sure you ask an adult for some help, okay? I want you to keep your fingers safe. So our last step now is going to be attaching our shapes to our different sticks. We're going to need to cut some string in order to do that. Each string doesn't need to be longer than your hand. That way you'll be able to attach it first to your shape by putting it through the hole. And tying a knot. I always like to tie double knots, make sure it doesn't come undone. And then taking the other end and tying it onto your stick where you want it to go. Again, you probably want to tie a nice double knot to make sure that it will stay put and not go anywhere. I'm going to repeat the same thing, cutting my string to about the same length as my hand, and then tying it onto my shape and onto all of my sticks real quickly now. So that way you can see how it'll look when it's all done. I have all my shapes now tied on. Now, before I go ahead and hold this up to see what it'll look like when it's hanging, there's one last little thing. All these extra string ends that we don't really need. So I like to go in and just give them a nice little trim down. That way they're not so distracting when you look at your finished piece of artwork. So go around, trim those strings off, and then in a moment here I'm going to hold it up to see what it looks like when it's all done. Even I don't know yet. Alright artists, here's my shape mobile. I just picked it up. My top part looks great, the bottom looks great, but my middle, when you see the stick, how it's not staying straight to the side, that can happen sometimes. Now, here's two ways to fix it. First way, I could untie this knot here and move it a little bit more over to this side because this side is bending down. Or the other way I can do it is also by shifting this shape over closer to the middle, and that will help balance it out as well a little bit. So either way will help create balance in my structure, just like that. Now you can see it spinning around. I hope you have a lot of fun creating your own shape mobile.